So what happens when a system that's designed for, perfect order runs smack into the messy reality of a human family? Well, we're about to dive into the really strange case of a family that broke a government protocol. And they didn't do it out of defiance. They did it just by living where they lived.
My house is my municipality. Wow. That single statement from the family patriarch, Garmin Malk, it just perfectly frames the entire battle that's about to unfold. It really makes you think, right? Is our identity defined by some line on a map? Or is it about the place we actually call home?
Okay, so our story kicks off in this small town called Breda. A team of 4 officials, they call them counters, has just rolled into town. And their whole mission? It's to put this new national enumeration protocol into action. It's a system that's supposed to neatly categorize every single resident. But, well, they're about to run into a family that just doesn't fit.
And this is what they call the Malk anomaly. You see, the town's population number is actually up in the air because of this one family. Their house, which was built way back in 1898, literally sits right on top of the municipal boundary. Think about this. Their kitchen is in Breda. That's where they do all their daily living stuff. But their bedrooms, those are in another town, Fesh. That's where the kids were born. And the hallway that connects the two, officially, it belongs to neither.
Okay, and this is where the cold, unfeeling logic of the system really enters the picture. The lead counter, a woman named Doria Velt, she operates strictly by the book, no exceptions. And the book, specifically this one rule, Provision 11C, is crystal clear. It requires every single resident to be assigned to one and only one municipality. There's just no room for gray areas, none.
So this whole problem, it actually exploded about 8 years earlier. That's when Thomas Malk, the patriarch's son, had a fatal stroke right in that hallway. The space that's officially nowhere. So one office issued a death certificate saying he died in Breda, but another office issued one for Veshte. This contradiction created what the protocol calls status indeterminacy. And now, with this new protocol, that status applies to his entire living family. In the system's eyes, they're basically unclassifiable.
And this right here is the core of the problem. The protocol isn't saying the Malks don't exist, it's just that it can't count them. It can't enumerate them. For the system, being a real person and being a counted person are two totally different things. And if you don't fit neatly into one of its little boxes, you basically become a ghost in the machine.
So the protocol demands they choose a principal living space. For them, that would be the kitchen in Breda. But how can they just ignore the bedrooms in Vesha? That's where every single member of the family was born. It's where they spend, a third of their lives. The protocol is basically forcing them to legally chop off half of their home and with it, half of their family's history.
So as the counters keep pressing the issue, things are going to escalate. And they do. The Malks, who have the whole community behind them, a community that sees them as neighbors, not just data points, they start to push back. They're pushing back against a system whose logic just makes zero sense in the real world.
This one exchange just says everything. One of the counters asks the former postmistress, so how did mail even get delivered to a house with no official address? And her answer? I was the system. It's such a perfect contrast, isn't it? The old way, built on people and relationships, versus this new, impersonal protocol that really doesn't care who you are.
Then you have Sable Malk, Thomas's widow, and she makes another incredibly powerful point. She just flat out refuses to let them define her son by a coordinate on a map. She says his residence, his home, it isn't a municipality, it's his family. That's such a profound statement about what truly defines where we all belong, right?
And then we get to this moment, when Githron Malk is finally backed into a corner and forced to choose a municipality for himself. His response is just a single word: no. It's not an argument, it's not a negotiation, it's a complete and total refusal of their entire premise. You see, the protocol is built to handle compliance, or confusion, or even mistakes. But it has no form, no procedure for a simple, absolute no.
That no creates a total impasse. And the stakes are getting really high. The family is about to be officially flagged as indeterminate, which would literally cut them off from pensions, medical care, even burial permits. It's a disaster. But then, a little ghost in the machine shows up. A system error, of all things, ends up pointing the way to a totally unexpected solution.
The breakthrough comes from a really unexpected place. See, back at the main district office, a senior adjudicator named Ulla Drecht notices this weird error code popping up, and she realizes, That string of characters, it's not random at all. It's a visual pattern. It's like a little digital sketch of the Malk house itself. It's amazing. In the very act of failing to process the family, the machine accidentally drew a picture of the problem.
So this realization sends Ulla direct straight to Breda. And you have to understand, she's kind of a bridge between two worlds. There's the new, shiny digital protocol, and then there's the old system of paper files, a system that had a memory. And deep in her memory, she pulls out this forgotten law, Regulation 47B, which allows for the one thing the Malks need, dual municipal residency.
So the solution, in the end, it wasn't found in some new piece of data or a fancy new algorithm. Nope. It was found in institutional memory. It was buried in the dusty archives of a system that was frankly more flexible because it was more human. The answer was there the whole time. It was just forgotten.
And the way they fix this is just beautifully analog. Ulla brings up that old law, but she needs hard evidence. So one of the counters, Linnae, actually digs through the town archives and pieces together 125 years of the Malk family's life on that line. And this paper trail proves without a doubt that they have always been dual residents. So what's the final step? They file all the paperwork physically, on paper, completely bypassing the new digital system that caused this whole mess in the first place.
And Ulla Drecht's words here, they just capture the whole solution so elegantly. She says the state isn't giving the Malks some new status. It's just finally being forced to admit the complicated reality that's been right there for over 100 years. It's not a gift, it's an acknowledgement of the truth.
So when it's all said and done, the story of the Malk family leaves us with this one big question, right? Systems, protocols, maps, they're all designed to make reality simple and neat. But what happens when reality just refuses to be simplified? Which one is supposed to bend? I think the Malk story suggests that sometimes the best and most humane answer isn't found in the neat lines on the map, but in the messy, undeniable truth of the territory itself.